Buenos dias. Day 8, I think. Leaving a sleepy little Oya. Very sleepy. So I got here yesterday. First sign of the day behind me. 148 kilometres. And it was shut, it appeared to be, but things started to open up about midday. And actually, it's one of those occasions, I've talked about this before, where you arrive somewhere and you think, I could go further than this, but then you miss out on sort of soaking up the local atmosphere and everything. As I mentioned that the other day, the day before, in Aguada. Yesterday, I just sat down in the little square bit there, soaking up some vitamin D, and a guy come along on a bike. A New Zealand, never did get his name actually, guy from New Zealand who's cycling. And actually I'll say that now, I think about it, because apart from walking, you are allowed to cycle the Camino, but you have to do at least 200 kilometres. I'm not sure how they're going to get around people potentially using electric bikes, because I would consider that to be cheating. But anyway, that's not for me to decide. But this guy had cycled, he'd flown into Lisbon. He bought a bike in a shop called Decathlon, which apparently is very popular. It's like an outdoor shop, running, walking, cycling, all that sort of stuff. And so he bought a bike and he's cycling from Lisbon to Santiago. He's away from New Zealand for 4 months. He's then going to Bordeaux, and then he's going to ride across and ride down the Canal Midi in the middle of France, down to the coast. It's crazy, but a really nice guy. I had a really good chat with him actually about what he's doing and why he's doing it. But and that's one of those things, is that you bump into these people. And another guy come along, I think he might have been German, and then they went off, and then one of the little bars was open, so I went and sat outside the bar, right on the path. And the path comes into the village. Sat there quite happily having a beer, and someone goes, "Hey Andy." And it was Heather, the woman from Nova Scotia in Canada, who I saw about 3 days ago, and I've not seen since. But I heard on the grapevine, which is what happens here, you heard on the grapevine that she got a blister, and she said she was quite bad, and she was meant to be going to place Baiona, which is where I'm going today. So it was a fair old walk for her yesterday. She's doing a tour type thing, it's planned, pre-planned. Nice little cards over there, actually. And but she was saying, I'm going to have to get a taxi, but she couldn't get her phone to work. So in the end, I ended up lending her my phone, and she managed to ring a taxi company, and the taxi came along and took her off to Baiona. So possibly the last time I'll ever see her, unfortunately. She's a lovely person, and nice to be able to help as well, And just sitting there watching the people come past. At that moment, the 2 German ladies that I saw the night before came along. So I had a chat with them. They stayed and had something, not with me, they stayed and had something to eat. So, and then quite happily have some calamaris and stuff. Let me look back down into the town actually behind me. It's a lovely little place, Oya, but for passing through. But as I said, because I sat there and had a lovely plate of calamari and a couple of beers, and I was just thinking about going, and this guy popped up and says, "Oh, do you mind if I sit here?" Irish guy, Christian. He's a fisherman. Of course he is. And fisherman. So he sat there and he said, "Oh, do you want a beer?" I said, "Well, I'm just about to go." He said, "I'll go on, have a beer." So we sat there and chatted for however long about this, that and the other, Caminos and all that sort of stuff. And once again, one of those things that you wouldn't see. And we both said that. I mean, he is having to push himself maybe a little bit more than what he would like to because of his work. But he was saying that you need to stop and take the time and soak everything up and not rush about too much, because that's not what it's about. It's about doing all that sort of thing. So today, as I said, I'm off to Baiona. It's going to be about 20 kilometres today. The sun's just coming up over the hills. Lovely. So I shall probably leave it there. I'm going to take a slight detour, hopefully, around to a place where it's the glass beach, they call it, where little bits of sea glass comes up on the beach, if I can find it. But anyway, I've no doubt I shall check in a bit later. A few more pilgrims about today, because it's slightly later. They must have stayed in Baiona as well, about 8:30. But once again, another beautiful morning and set fair. Anyway, I shall no doubt speak to you a bit later on. Adios. This is like these little agricultural places. These aren't being used at the moment, but excuse me, all the wildflowers in the front. It's interesting. I was talking to that Christian, the Irish guy. He lives on an island off the west coast of Ireland, not that far from where my uncle lives, actually, would you believe? And he was saying that parts of this, I was saying yesterday about how it's sort of slightly British feel because of the greenness, and he said it reminds him something a bit like this of the coast of Ireland as well. And he's come this way quite a lot as a fisherman. But what I want to mention, actually, because talking to the Kiwi cyclist and the Christian as well, both talking about our shoes, because so many people obviously get blisters and that because of the shoes that they wear. And there are so many variations on shoes and socks and whether you should wear 2 pairs of socks, you should put Vaseline on your feet before you put your socks on, and all these type of things. There are so many different things, and some people, I think, do get, they read something in a guidebook and they think, right, that's the law, that's the way it needs to be done. Everything like this, you have to do it and experiment and plan beforehand and wear the stuff that you're going to be using, whether it be a rucksack, shoes, everything, walking poles, socks, and test them out, because I think that's what happened to poor old Heather, because she was saying the other day that she's only using the day pack only, and she was getting sore shoulders because she's obviously not tested it properly and not had it sort of fitted in a way, like mine. I say it's so about 50% of the people are using day packs and having their stuff moved forward every day. So they obviously have smaller packs, but some of them have got 24-litre packs. Mine's 32, and it's full. Fair enough. Weighs about 7k, as I think I mentioned before. And after, like now, I've been walking for a little bit. I don't even notice it's there. And other people really struggle with their stuff. I saw a woman yesterday with a 44-kilo pack. But anyway, going back to what I was going to talk about was footwear, because both. Actually, I'm going to turn this around. Hang on. Yeah, back to footwear. So actually, I see there's all these cows around here at the moment. Those big horned cattle, and with shoes, because both myself and Chris, the Kiwi cyclist, were wearing exactly the same types of shoes. You really won't be able to see them, but they're Merrill walking shoes, Moab I think they are, and I wear them all the time. I wear them at home all the time. They're my sort of go-to shoes. This particular pair, as it happens, I wasn't going to walk in. I only bought them because if I ever see a pair cheap in your local millets or whatever, I buy them, and that's what happened with this pair that I'm wearing now. I saw them and I thought, right, I'm going to buy them because I'll keep them for later. And then I realised, well, I might as well walk in them. I've got a pair of Merrill walking boots, but I felt that these shoes would be better. And that was the point that the Kiwi cyclist said, because he walked the Frances route, 500 miles. That sounds like a Proclaimer song, doesn't it? And across France and Spain last year or the year before, whatever, in a pair of these identical shoes. No problems at all, because he wears them all the time as well. He wore them out, but I think what happens, and Christian was saying exactly the same thing, because he normally wears a certain type of shoe, but he changed and he wore something else and he was getting blisters. I, thankfully, so far, have been okay, and I'd like to think that now I've got over the halfway point, and I'm not far off halfway, I will pass that point today, that it's because my feet are used to these shoes. I wear them all the time. My feet are used to them. Also, with these, exactly as the cyclist said, you put these on, go for a short walk, and they're fine. No problems at all. So, something to bear in mind if you're ever going to do this, and it's the same with running shoes actually, is to have the same thing. Everyone finds a brand of running shoe that fits them, literally, that is the one for them. Don't just go for the one that everybody says you should get. Once again, go to a proper shop, get them fitted and test them out. And you can do that. I remember Julie doing that once when we were wherever we were. She went into a proper shop, put her on a little treadmill or something, assessed her gait, as they call it, and shoes brilliant. So mine running shoes, Asics, but they're not necessarily for you. And I used to wear Nike ones, and I remember buying a pair of New Balance ones, which were really recommended. I couldn't get on with them at all. They actually gave me blisters, and I got rid of them after using them for about 100 miles. Anyway, just a bit of an aside. I thought I'd tell you that while I thought of it. You know, all these, I say, one of these things, doing these videos, I'm almost thinking out loud as I'm going along. Instead of writing a journal, I'm doing this instead. So, sorry. Adios for now. I'm on what I call the yellow brick road. Follows the road. Daddy, I thought I'd show you this. I've seen several of these little structures right in the middle there. Apparently they're grain stores, and they're using, because obviously you can see they're on little stilts. So they put the grain in there, and steps going up, keeps it off the ground. Vermin or whatever can't get at it, and neither can the wet weather in its own way. So opening up today, going over that, around that headland, I think. Coming into a little place now. I think once around the headland, might be time for breakfast, because my breakfast this morning consisted of a handful of Haribo sweets. I like to have a sort of a balanced diet, you know, but keep you going for a little way. Anyway, follow the yellow brick road, as they say. Definitely a hat day today. Managed to find breakfast. You always just stumble upon these places, and absolutely crammed. There's lots of pilgrims about today on this particular part of the walk, and I've just come off. This is the official route. Come back off of the road, back onto this again. And something I was thinking of actually after talking about the Kiwi cyclist, as I was earlier. And I say saw a lot of cyclists yesterday actually. As I said, it's quite a popular way of doing it. Cycling is very popular, and probably a lot quicker than walking. But actually, that's the point. I like the actual walking, because it's the sort of most basic sort of thing that you can do. Put one foot in front of the other. There's a sign here. I'm not sure which way it's going. Oh, it's up there. Good. Okay. But yes, as I said, the most basic form of mode of transport, I suppose. And as I've talked about, I'm going uphill now. It's slow travel, very slow travel, and you absorb everything. You see everything. You can take in everything if you're that way inclined. And you just, I don't know. You get into walking is a very meditative thing. You know, same as the sort of almost like the beat of the heart and all that sort of stuff. Getting very philosophical about it, but it is. That's just why it appeals to so many people. So it's getting warm now. So I would much prefer that, and increasingly I think slow travel is becoming a thing. People taking trains instead of airplanes. You see far more on a train than you do on a plane, etc., etc. Walking. And cycling's great. Yeah, obviously you're taking it in, and you're out in the outdoors as well. You know, you're among the elements, however good or bad they may be. Well, I think I'm going to leave it because there's a little climb. As I said, turned into a gorgeous day, and it's taking my jacket off, which was actually a very good. I was talking about equipment earlier on. That's actually a little running jacket. I wasn't going to bring it, and thought actually that might be quite good. Sort of windproof-ish, showerproof, and just an extra layer. And I've been wearing it every single day. You just never know, do you? Anyway, upwards. The trail has taken me down here. The road that you might have seen earlier on is up there. And a lot of people, there's the turn off quite signposted very well, and people were just carrying on the road, and I'm thinking, why wouldn't you want to come down here, walk along here? If I come round, because I'm heading in that direction, you can see there's a lighthouse on sort of part way up that hill. Let's see it there, see it? And just further along, you might see it in the distance, there's another one. And I'm hoping to walk around there. Apparently you can climb up that hill, but don't worry, Julie, I'm not going to, for once. And that's where the sea glass beach is, I believe. So maybe they've changed, because the official route, I think, takes you supposed to take you inland more, like where the road is, but maybe they switched it. But so I say most of the people are carrying on, and I'm thinking, wow, you miss out on this. But one thing I'll mention, actually, there was a guy walking in front of me. He's up there somewhere now, and he's walking along this bit, and he's on his mobile phone. And I'm thinking to myself, well, you don't want to know what I'm thinking, really. I mean, obviously I've got a mobile phone here, but all the time I'm walking, and quite a lot of the other time, it's actually on silent. So there's no distractions. And why would you want to be distracted from this and from the walking and all that meditative thing I was talking about, etc., etc.? One of the reasons that people come on this route or on this walk or a Camino full stop is to get away from it all, as I've probably said before. And you'll miss out that, the sea, the seagulls and everything else that's going on. Great. I haven't seen many people actually with headphones on or earpieces in. The odd person, but not odd, not so but not that many. Not as many as I suspected, actually. But I have a funny feeling that once I get to the 100k point, that might change a little bit. I'll maybe go into that a bit further down the road, as they say. So here we are, just standing here and contemplating this and thinking, what a nice place to be. Well, I've reached the end of the headland, headed off the main. There's the other little lighthouse. I'm going down there for a well-earned drink in a minute, and come off the main path. I'll do the little panorama. I think that's a little sea glass beach down here somewhere. I'll go and have a look in a minute. It looks as though it's glittering. And look at the bay. Look, this is the way that I'm heading, all the way up there. And round the corner here. Well, about the unfortunately the the refuse plant thing there, sewage works. So Baiona's around here somewhere, I think, just around the corner here. And then you've got a place called Aramalosa, and then Vigo is round further on, port, which is after Baiona, my next port to call. But yes, a lot of people miss out this headland because this isn't the official route. As I said, the official route would take you inland, not far from where I showed you last time. And but I knew, a bit of research, always worth doing, that the road that I was following earlier, actually goes right the way around the headland here and all the way into Baiona. And so you can actually skirt round, which is much nicer because it's rather gorgeous around here, I must say. And I say, I'm going to have a look at this beach in a sec. But that's where I'm headed, for a well-earned refresco fria. See you soon. Just been up at the lighthouse, as I said, having a nice cold drink. There's the view. And this is Sea Glass Beach. I read about it. And look at it. It's absolutely amazing. It's just covered in sea glass everywhere. The whole beach is just covered in it. I'm not sure how that happens. It's slightly isolated. So you must just gather here somehow. I mean, sometimes even at home you find little bits all over the place, but it's just covered. And so a lot of these, as you can see, is green, so it's, you know, come from the sea, flotsam. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, you sort of think, you hear about these places and you think, nah, it can't be like that, but it is. So I think I may be bringing a couple of pieces home, Julie. Get ready. Just coming round towards Baiona. I'll just show you this up here, actually, up on the hill. See that huge statue of the Virgin Mary. So I've walked from around there. That lighthouse that I walked from earlier on is up around there somewhere. I come round all these islands out here and past this sign. And this huge, great fort in front of me. That's there's a beach in front of that, and the main part of Baiona is the other side. So looking good, feeling good. Good day's walk so far, and not far to go now. Still following the yellow brick road. Well, here we are. This is Baiona, and this is the beach. Well, one of the beaches. There are several more actually over there behind the sort of harbour over there, and behind me is the fort area that I might have mentioned before. So yes, I got a very nice walk today actually, and I said I went off piste a little bit with going around the headland, but I think that was a really good thing to do. And funny enough, I got here and met up with Norma and Victoria, who comes from Arizona, who I met briefly the other day, and we just sat down and caught up and had lunch, because they move off tomorrow and I won't see them anymore, because they'd be like a day ahead of me. So it was good to catch up with them again. And they did the official route, if you want to put that way, which took them through a few more of the sort of the wooded hills, not following the road and not going around the headland. But I think I got the best option there. But that's one of the things, because they go with the tour, what they've tended to do is to use the information that they're given, which just takes them on the main route, which is fair enough. I understand that, because that's the route that everyone tends to take. The one I took, there weren't any official signs, although, as I said, a little bit of research goes a long way. Looking at guidebooks, or just even on Google Maps, although I wouldn't use it in the countryside, but other apps that I've used, as I said, Camino specific apps, which are very good for that and give you information about, say, like finding that sea glass beach, which isn't on the main route, and you have to go off piste, as I said, a little bit to find it, but following a proper cycle path, the North, I think it was the North Atlantic, like EU sort of cycle path. So nice thing to walk on, plenty of room, not dangerous in any way, there's plenty of space for you to walk. It's just a case of following your nose a little bit, and very straightforward. I knew that the road went around the headland, as I might have mentioned before. So here I've actually got a rest day here tomorrow, purposely, because I've just gone over the halfway mark, although I haven't seen any signs telling me that, because I was on the different route. So I know that I am now over halfway officially. Obviously day 8, as I said, so over halfway in that way, as someone just said earlier, this over the hump, and now it's hopefully all downhill from here. And you got to that point where now it is, you're on the way to, literally on the way to Santiago, but you feel as though you've broken the back of it and you're getting towards it. Yeah, okay, there's a long way to go, but I'm feeling good. I was just talking to Julie, and my legs and my feet feel good. I feel good, and by now, as I mentioned earlier on, you think that you would start to feel things going wrong with your shoes and that sort of stuff, or the equipment that you've bought with you. Thankfully, I've not had that. Partly hopefully for some of the reasons that I might have mentioned. But anyway, got here tomorrow, as I said, an off day, a rest day, but it's going to be weird actually, because I know that I'm going to get up and think I should be walking, I'm going to want to walk. But that's one reason why I chose this place, just looking, once again, doing a bit of research, and I think the weather's going to be nice as well tomorrow, so I should probably be sitting on this beach and wandering around that fort and doing a little bit of walking, but obviously not the same way, keeping my feet going, keeping my legs going. But plenty going on here as well, restaurant wise, bar wise, and just life wise. I think far more than there was in Oya yesterday. So there you go. So here we are. There's actually some sort of old-fashioned boat out there. I don't know if you can get out and go and have a look at that. We shall see, and I'm sure I shall talk to you tomorrow at some time. Anyway, adios for now.